Des Clark, and this is Breaking the Year, the show that breaks down the last 12 months of news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. And joining me at an appropriate distance are broadcaster Katrina Shearer and comic actor and writer Raymond Mearns. And facing them are comic and farmer Jim Smith and stand-up Susie McCabe. Yes, 2021 has been a truly mixed year. Health Secretary Matt Hancock was found to have broken social distancing guidance after newspapers published pictures of him kissing an aide. In his defence, he said they were simply playing the traditional Downing Street party game of snog, sorry, resign. And Amazon opened a shop where you don't have to pay at the tills, or as we called it back in the day, the Woolworths pick and mix. Yes, we've got so much to get through, from vaccines to elections, the world coming to Scotland, and Steve Clarke's men going from strength to strength. So let's do it. Let's crack on with round one. And this is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess the two stories of the year that have been mashed together into one headline. So, Raymond and Katrina, can you tell me what you think the first story is?
A record number of Scots received
an extraordinary fourth consecutive victory in the Scottish Parliament election.
The First Minister revealed that over 61,000 JAGs were administered.
One short of a majority, but one more than it won in 2016.
Well, there we go. Loads going on. Raymond, what do you think our first story might be?
Something to do with vaccinations. We seem to have, I don't know about yourself, I've been in the house for 2 years, but apparently there's been a vaccine rollout.
We've been doubled, tripled, it's all been happening, and that is the right answer. It was the dominating story of 2021, living with coronavirus. This was the year of vaccine rollouts, COVID passports, and then just when we thought we had a grip on things, the variants came along. In the UK, we are on our fourth variant of concern in just under 2 years, which is extraordinary, really. In fact, scientifically, the only thing to see more variations in such a short period of time is the sugar babes. We've got the vaccines here. The rollout is happening. What do you think? How do you think it's going, Katrina?
The blue letter, I love getting letters at the best of the time. Waiting on the postman is brilliant. So between that and it's basically an invite, isn't it? So it was like the best invite that I'd had out all year. So it was a double whammy of excitement for me. Post and an invite out.
I love
Smashing.
that. Everyone's in a pandemic worry and you're just going, I'm getting an invite to a party. Getting a letter. There you go. Maybe it is just something, Susie. We try and make a positive out of anything here.
Yeah.
We've got the vaccine rollout, which generally has gone well. A lot of people have been vaccinated. How do you think the rollout of the vaccine has gone?
I think it has went well, despite some people's best efforts to ruin the rollout of the vaccine, like people that like to roll about filthy pubs and manky floors and then go, I'm not putting that in my veins. You don't know what's in that. And you're like, I've just seen you sup your drink through a straw off a bar toilet floor. So I think if you've got that living inside you, you'll not need a vaccine.
You're absolutely right. Obviously, we've had quite a year. We've had a big year, Jim. You and I have been in some sort of socially distanced contact throughout that year.
Yeah.
But it's great to see you again in person.
It's lovely. You've not come up a hill with me yet.
No, and it's because of the way you phrase it. That's not an invite, that's a threat. Come up a hill with me. You've been climbing the Munros. Obviously, you've been on the farm this whole time. What's your take on the vaccine rollout?
Well, it's been pretty slow. I queued for 2 hours outside the Blairgowrie Town Hall to get my vaccine yet. And like 20, it took them ages to get 20 folk done, whereas we can rattle 100 sheep through an hour.
Would they have to sit after they've had their vaccine? Do you have to go and put them in a wee room and say, just 15 minutes, and if you need a biscuit, let me know?
Oh, the sheep?
Aye.
Aye. At least the cows have herd immunity.
Boom, boom. What do you think then about the COVID passports? Do you think they're a good way forward?
It's just another thing when you're rushing out the door, though, to try and, when you've had pre-drinks.
It's on your phone, Jim.
Pre-drink.
It's on your phone.
Right.
You take
But
your
his,
phone
his,
at your
his, his phone's wired into the wall.
His phone's still got a dial on it.
Jim just takes a landline with him wherever he goes. It is, of course, all about how we continue to cope with the pandemic. I, for one, will not be going to nightclubs, although that has less to do with COVID passports and more to do with the fact that DJs consistently refuse to play Cotton Eye Joe. It's a disgrace. Well done, Raymond and Katrina. You get 2 points for that. To you now, Susie and Jim. What was the other story we were after?
A record number of Scots received
An extraordinary fourth consecutive victory in the Scottish Parliament election.
The First Minister revealed that over 61,000 JAGs were administered.
One short of a majority, but one more than it won in 2016.
That is the Scottish elections.
Said with such joy.
What a laugh.
And it is the right answer. That is right. In March, Nicola Sturgeon couldn't recall much. But luckily for her, in May there was a Scottish parliamentary election which returned a victory for the SNP and eventually saw 3 new leaders emerge for the opposition parties. The SNP also announced an alliance with the Scottish Greens. But even that wasn't enough to get Nicola Sturgeon a ticket for COP26.
I always think the thing with a Scottish election is it always reminds you that Scotland has a Liberal Democrat party. And it's the only time you ever hear of them is at election time. Like, see the build-up to that election, you'd watch the news and they'd be like, today, Nicola Sturgeon visited a health centre, Douglas Ross visited such and such. And you would see the leaders going out and doing stuff kind of productive. Then they'd go, today, Willie Rennie was paragliding. And then the next day you go, here's Willie Rennie in a jet ski. And I'm going, is this old guy raising money for like the NHS or something? It turns out he was a leader of a political party. He lost the very few seats that they had and now they don't even get a question. And you're going, Willie, you seem a lovely guy, but you're a bit of a supply teacher.
Farm animals, they hate elections just for the very word you say. It's either, if it's not Ruth Davison on a buffalo, it's Willie Rennie talking to some alpacas. You know, his little Fife accent. How you getting on today? You all right? You going to vote for me?
In amongst everything else, Raymond, this year we did have a Scottish election. Do you feel that much has changed since that?
No, I think it merely confirmed that our society is polarised. And what you've got is a situation where the SNP, in order to get a majority, need to jump into bed with the Greens, which is, and all this stuff about, transport. What do they call it? This walking transport and get on your bike and all this. I just don't like the sound of this at my age and in my condition. I'm all for the environment and all that sort of thing. I mean, I've stopped burning stuff. But I've got to go down to the police station every couple of weeks and sign in.
Katrina, we've had quite a year for a number of reasons, but in the middle of it, we had a Scottish election. Do you think much has changed since then?
No, I don't. I think it's the same thing, different people in some cases. The whole of this year just gone past seems a blur to me. I can't remember what happened with the election. I can't remember what happened, and well, that could be to do with the beer machine I bought, mind you. But I just
You've installed a beer machine in your house.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's to get you through. Something that's to get you through
You're praying for
lockdown. and
lockdowns
whatnot.
again.
And you can get a carry-out delivered to your house. It's phenomenal. I've just had guys firing sausage suppers through the letterbox. It's been phenomenal. I'm just sitting in the lobby with a big nappy around me.
What a mental image that is. Susie, obviously a lot of things came out of the election. One is that there's still quite a tricky relationship between Scotland and Westminster. How do you think that's evolved in the last 12 months?
I think it's only going to get worse. Obviously, both political parties have got different views and different agendas, and I get that. And they do need to come together, but I do feel as if there's an element with Westminster where they're just trying to keep Scotland in a box, and we're a bit like a wee bag of ferrets ready to pop out. Do you know what I mean? Where are you? Where is it? I'm done with this.
Jim, you wanted a final thought?
Well, just what I think the reason that down south are so keen to keep the union, because Boris does want water's going to be a big thing in the future, and he's wanting to pipe water all from drain their lochs and glens, basically a lot of lochs, and pump it into England, which would also solve the transport system, right? Because you're like, am I taking the train? No, I'm taking the flume, you know.
There you go. The evolving political landscape of Scotland is the right answer. And at the end of that round, the teams are all square. Now, so much of our news is about public opinion, so we have asked a couple of 2021's biggest stars to send us their thoughts on two of the stories of the year. So, Katrina and Raymond, here is star of this year's revival of Games Master and brand new sketch show Queen of the New Year, Rab Florence. What story do you think Rab is on about here?
I couldn't get into the tune. My own city, my own home city. It's not where I live now, but it's where I was born, where I was raised. You know what I mean? I like to go visit my old turf. I get a hero's welcome. Normally I get a hero's welcome, and now they're telling me, oh, Rab, you're not allowed to walk down this street because all the fancy people are here. But it was all behind closed doors, so I don't really know what was going on. I don't know what they were talking about. They seem to be drinking a lot of bottles of ginger, though.
It sounds a bit like COP26, Glasgow being the host city for the COP26 climate summit.
Does sound a bit like that, and that is the right answer. Yes, when the going gets tough, the tough head to Scotland. The UN COP26 convention on climate change saw the world's leaders, celebrities, activists and campaigners gather in Glasgow to try to come up with some kind of plan to save the planet. During COP26, Boris Johnson was photographed sitting next to David Attenborough without a mask on, which at the time seemed bad, but now seems like one of the nicer things that he's done this year. Katrina correctly identified there. COP26 here in Scotland, Glasgow specifically. What did you make of COP26?
I think the intention of it is completely right. I find the irony of it, though, just overwhelming. The whole idea of it being a climate conference, and yet everybody's... I mean, how many jets did Biden have, and motorcades and all this sort of stuff? And to me, it just seems an absolute... It's just a no-brainer that you would... Well, why would you not just have people doing it on Zoom?
Jim, what did you make of COP26 this year?
It's just we're just too late, and we have to get away from this kind of expecting to have oranges and bananas in our supermarkets in January. Mm-hmm. Aye, we need to get. Honestly, I know I'm always flying the flag for the farmers, but we need to get back to a wee bit of seasonal produce.
Jim, apart from leftover Madeira cake, what should I be eating in January?
Well, there's nothing. There's just turnips, really. If you went right back to it, it's just turnips. Well, that's why folk made jams and all that.
Wait, turnip jam? What? Turnip jam? I don't like the sound of that. Does that work?
No.
I think what my client's trying to say is that perhaps in the summer seasons they would use
When
the
there's
fruit
abundance of fruit.
and make a preserve so that in the
Yes.
winter times you could have
That's why
your
they're
fruit
called
in a
preserves.
jam form.
5 months out of date jam? Are you off your nut? Oh, behave yourself.
Jam's like wine; it gets better.
Oh, I'm glad you never went to COP26. There's some bizarre ideas getting flouted here.
Susie, what did you make of it? Being from Glasgow, COP26 was there just a month or so ago.
I did love the fact that Nicola Sturgeon trumped, like, Boris at every opportunity, and Joe Biden, because they really tried to stop her meeting Joe Biden. This was a real thing. Joe Biden's like, Nicola, see if you get independence, can I put boats in your North Sea?
Biden was responsible for some of his own emissions in front of Camilla, wasn't he? He did a wee...
I heard that, yeah. He reportedly...
Did, and apparently, I mean, I heard it in Bailison.
Of course, at COP26, Nicola Sturgeon was the one who really stood out. Yes, stood outside the venue, banging on the windows. Yes, the COP26 climate conference in Glasgow is correct. 2 points, Katrina and Raymond. Well done. Right, Susie and Jim, it's your turn now. And we caught up with sea shanty chart topper Nathan Evans.
I was actually in attendance, soaking up the atmosphere, and all I can say was that it was electric and it was emotional. Oh, yes, sir, I can boogie, but I need a certain song.
This was our saving grace, wasn't it? Yeah. This was the thing that got us through the last 12 months.
Oh, yes.
Remember a year ago we were doing this show and we just qualified with Gordon Marshall saving that penalty. And if that had missed, it would have been... I know it's been a tough year for a lot of people, but that's got us through,
It was even tougher for Gordon Marshall, who retired about 20 years ago. David Marshall actually saved the penalty. But good old Gordon, he sat at home thinking, I've not played the game in 2 decades, but he was out there for that penalty, and I tell you what.
What a boy.
What a boy. He still got it. You never lose it. He was there, and Jim Leighton was on the bench as well. This was actually the year when Steve Clarke's Scotland's men's team went to the Euros, our first major tournament in 23 years. What about that for a moment this year?
It was amazing. It was amazing. And I think it's very easy for like me and you to forget that there's a whole generation of kids that have never lived that. Like, there's people in their 30s who have never seen Scotland at a football tournament. And we were all fortunate enough to be, between 17, 18, 19, wee bit more for Mearnsey. But when it was...
I remember Argentina. I remember Argentina, boy.
And when it was...
We're on the march with Ali's army.
When it was France 98, and I think it was amazing. And do you know what I loved about it? I loved the fact that we had Yes Sir I Can Boogie, right? A camp disco classic, right?
Yeah.
And then for 6 months, all we heard was, it's coming home. And then the reality of that was it was going to Rome. And that will never no be funny.
Katrina, what did you make of Scotland's men being back in a major football tournament?
Phenomenal. I'm a big football fan as well. And like Susie was saying, it's that idea of togetherness, because the country's been politically divided for a number of years. We've all been separated in the past couple of years through the pandemic and not being able to see each other or live life in the normal way that we had been used to. That was just... I've got goosebumps talking about this. It was phenomenal watching it and thinking, actually, this is really good. We are really good. Look at us.
Only happens twice a century. A bit like Halley's Comet.
One of England's most popular football songs is Three Lions, so called, I think, because Lions aren't very good at penalties either. Yes, the continued success of the Scotland's men's national team is the correct answer, and 2 points go to Susie and Jim. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person who has featured prominently in the news this year, and all you have to do is tell me who it is. So, Katrina and Raymond, who is this and why are they in the news?
There's a stiff upper lip to him, but there's also a kind of, there's a style, and there's all about, the thing about the tailoring, the cars and things, which are all feel particularly British to me, which I think is fun to play with, and I really get a kick out of doing all that.
Raymond, I can see you thinking hard about that one. Who do you think that is?
I think it is the quite ubiquitous Daniel Craig, the Bond actor, Daniel Craig.
It is the right answer. Well done. Yes, it is 007 himself, Daniel Craig. No Time to Die finally hit cinemas this year, and along with Indiana Jones, Batman and The Flash had scenes that were shot here in Scotland. Glasgow is doubling as Gotham City in 4 separate DC comic book films. It's an unusual choice, as every time Batman wants to brood on top of a statue, he'll have to take the traffic cone off it first. It's the place of choice, Susie, for filmmakers. Why do you think Scotland has now risen to such prominence as being the place where all the big films want to be shot?
Because it's easier to have 4 locations in one day with our weather. You can be in a snowy mountain, you can be in a sunny beach, you can be in a storm, all within the same location, the same set, and probably within about an hour. They don't need to move anything. I remember watching Minnie Driver give an interview, and she was filming in Scotland. It was like a drama or whatever, and there were 6 episodes, and they were filming in January, and they had to go out and get her a sunlight because she was like, there was no daylight, and it was very grey and rain. And to get the vitamin D, because she was like, I started to feel my mood going down, and you're like, oh, you should come in October, love. Come from October to March, we'll get you a timeshare. Get you a timeshare calm time.
Raymond, we were talking about this obviously as a great thing for Scotland. Do you think, as somebody that's been involved in a wee bit of films yourself, could this be now the moment for Scotland to become the UK's answer to Hollywood?
The UK's answer to Hollywood? I think Brad Pitt's going to be sitting in Beverly Hills and going, heck, I'll sell up, move to Bells Hill. I don't think so. If yourself. We already knew that poor Minnie Driver was depressed in the rain.
She's on the vitamin D
Behave
sunlight.
yourself. Aye. Oh, I love it in Malibu, but I wish I had a house in Bathgate. Aye.
In amongst it, though, it's been an amazing year for TV and film, and for a lot of us being stuck at home, I'm sure we've watched even more than we usually would. So let's just go around the houses here and find out your TV or film highlight of 2021. Katrina?
We did go and see the Bond film, which was fantastic because obviously I love Bond, and obviously it's been put back because of the pandemic. But the only problem is because it's much anticipated, but we went to see it and I couldn't wait, and I can't even remember what happens at the end because we were getting. They have drinks in the cinema, and so I waited all this time to see it, and I can't remember how it ends because, yeah.
Because you were getting a drink at the time.
Because you were steaming.
Yeah.
Were you both shaken and stirred? Right, fair enough. Well, at least you won't give away any spoilers.
Well, exactly, because I'll need to go back and see it again.
How did Bond end? Gin and tonic. All day. Of course, we started this by talking about Daniel Craig, and James Bond isn't the only thing to be recorded in Scotland, with filming for Indiana Jones taking place in Glasgow ahead of the much anticipated release of Indiana Jones and the overpriced tour of the Tennent's Brewery. Yes, there you go. 2 points for Katrina and Raymond. That was the departing Bond star Daniel Craig. Right, Susie and Jim, it's your turn now. Who is this?
When I was watching it, it almost feels like that's not me who's playing, and it feels like it's someone else. But I knew exactly what was going to happen, but still, it's some very tense moments.
That is Emma Raducanu.
Yes, it is Sports Personality of the Year, Emma Raducanu, who ended a 44-year wait for a British woman to win a Grand Slam singles title with her remarkable run to win the US Open. The 19-year-old was born in Canada to a Romanian father and a Chinese mother. But let's face it, if she loses at Wimbledon, somehow she'll be Scottish. So there she is, Emma Raducanu. Seemed to come from nowhere at the age of 19, wins the US Open. How impressed, Susie, are you with her achievement?
Oh, unbelievable. Didn't drop a set.
I know.
Didn't drop a set the whole tournament. I loved it. I loved it for a whole host of reasons, and I just thought, what a great role model for young women to look up to, because we are seeing the rise of female sport on our TV and stuff, professional female sports play, like the women's football and stuff like that as well.
Katrina, what an achievement. 19 years old, second Grand Slam tournament. She goes in and wins the whole thing. That's amazing, isn't it?
It's phenomenal, and like Susie said as well, what a, just a role model, and it is great to see young women doing that, but how to make you feel really like, what have I achieved? What was I doing at 19? Oh my word, I certainly wasn't winning any tournaments or putting my mind to anything like that. I was just...
but she's never been drunk in the cinema, Kat.
There you go. Who's the real winner here?
I have found my level.
Emma Raducanu has done this for sport and achievement, not for the money. However, let's put this to the one side. £2 million at the age of 19.
Is that what she won?
Yeah.
She won £2 million. I'd give that a go myself. For £2 million.
Yeah, she's earned around £2 million in the past year at the age of 19. What would you have done with that money, Katrina, at the age of 19?
19, bought a whole load of shoes with that. Shoes, just no spent on it.
I didn't think you were going to say shoes
no,
there.
Neither did I.
Jim, she's earned £2 million at the age of 19 playing tennis. Doesn't do it for the money, but nonetheless, she has it. What would you have done at 19 with £2 million?
I don't know. I probably went to the Highland Show and bought up a pint.
I was going to say sheep or something.
Everyone a pint at
Pint
the
of the Highland Show, and you'd have £500,000 left.
Susie, I know that it's not about the money for sports people at that level. However, Emma Raducanu has made about £2 million at the age of 19. Yeah. What would you have done with that kind of money at the age of 19?
If you're a sports star at 19, you've trained your whole life for that, and you're going to be professional in how you go about your business. If you're just like wee Susie at 19, you're going to be dead in 6 months. But what a party you're going to have had. Oh, it'll be amazing.
It's the way to do it. You can't talk about tennis in this country without the legend, Sir Andy Murray. Raymond, what do you think his legacy's going to be?
Saying 200 a year, right? Just like we have Burns night, we're going to have Murray night. That's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to get together, have strawberries and cream and champagne and wear wee tight white shorts and batter each other over the head with tennis bats and stuff. And they'll go, why do we do this? Oh, there was a guy, a tennis player. I know. I've never had anybody since. I don't know what happened. We must have had a couple of good summers. There'll be Murray night, it'll be Andy Murray night. I can't see a Scottish guy doing what he's done again.
Phenomenal
Unless
achievement.
they're born in Canada of Romanian Chinese and go and settle in Glenrothes or something.
We can still make it happen. And there we go. Tennis superstar Emma Raducanu is the right answer. And 2 points goes to Susie and Jim. Yay. And it's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. So I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. All of our facts and figures are about 2021. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
Vaccine, 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 vaccine.
There you go. That is, of course, country legend Dolly Parton, who was smart enough to realise we'll all probably need about 4 Jags to be fully vaccinated. Right, here we go. Fingers on buzzers. What was used 72 times more frequently in 2021 than in 2020? Susie.
Matt Hancock's divorce lawyer.
What a moment that was.
Oh.
A video you'll never forget.
No.
Oh, no. Raymond.
My trousers.
At least I get some use this year. Let's keep going. What was used 72 times more frequently in 2021 than in 2020? Katrina.
Hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer's a brilliant answer. It's wrong, but it's brilliant. What was you just like it because it's got a lot of alcohol. You have it at the end of the films, don't you? Is that Bond finished? Pass me that 60%. Give me 2 bottles. What was used 72 times more frequently in 2021 than in 2020? Jim.
The key to St Johnston's trophy cabinet.
Thank you very much. He had to get that in, couldn't he? Couldn't let that one lie. Brilliant answers, but we were looking for something else, and it was this. What was used 72 times more frequently in 2021 than in 2020? The Oxford English Dictionary word of the year, vax, which is short for vaccination, received much more usage in the last 12 months.
Vaccine, 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 vaccine.
Oh, there she is. That is the klaxon. Dolly has pardoned. It means it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners for 2021 are Raymond Mearns and Katrina Shearer. And commiserations to runners-up Jim Smith and Susie McCabe. And we'll leave you with some breaking the year predictions for 2022. In 12 months' time, Nicola Sturgeon could get her wish of spending Christmas 2022 in a fully independent nation, because she's retiring to Barbados. Scotland's World Cup dreams will be over very quickly in Qatar. The team will drop out due to injury when they all get sunstroke getting off the plane. And in a misguided attempt to stay relevant, the royal family will spend millions trying to put the Queen's face on a Bitcoin. Yes, the year is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye! Yay!